realized I say basically the same thing every time I start a new episode.
What is the thing?
All right, everybody, we're back again, and this is Stone-Faced Reactions with Summertime Render. Confusing bit I also realized is the show seems to have a number of names.
Oh, does it?
Summertime Render, Summertime Rendering.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I noticed that. I just didn't. I thought there were more like that when you said they had a number.
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, I think that I found other things too, but when I was trying to figure out what do I name the episode, is it Sometime Render or Sometime Rendering? I find a lot of sites for Sometime Render. I find a few for Sometime Rendering. It's listed as both.
All right. Tell you what. Let me look it up on Wikipedia right now, and they'll decide for us.
All right. That'll tell me if I have to edit up subtitles.
It says rendering. On Wikipedia.
Alright. But what if...
Wait, it was serialized from 2017 to 2021? This is going to be a long series.
But now, if I look it up on my anime list, it's Summertime Render.
You know what, though? On my search results, the first thing that popped up, right? Summertime Render.
And on Annie list, it's Summertime Render.
Yeah.
So, confusingly...
The official fandom wiki says rendering.
On my anime list, it's Summertime, one word, Render.
I noticed that.
On Annie list, it's Summertime Render. Anime News Network, it's Summertime Rendering.
Oh, man.
As I'm saying, there's a lot of names. Some of them just all include the same words.
I guess just pick your favorite at this point.
I mean, I think I have it listed as Summertime Render at the moment because...
Either way, it's going to pop up.
We picked it up on Annie list or Anime list or one of the two, and when we picked it up on those, it's Render. So...
Yeah.
It's also at least the amount of text. You know, ing, it's hard. It's rough.
It's very difficult. I hate remembering to type your letters.
But yeah, no, you, I believe you mentioned before we started recording that you thought not a lot happened in the first episode except for the last minute.
Okay, so plenty happened, right? They gave us the exposition we needed about the situation. We got a little taste of what the characters are like. They did all the setup things that they needed to do. It was just a lot of talking, a lot of inaction, right?
Exposition.
And then they hit us with a little suspense, right? When they brought up the story, they gave us something to think about, like, okay, are they actually going to give us something supernatural? Is it just something to fill out, sort of give an air to the small town vibe and all the urban legends and stuff? And then out of nowhere, 3 people die in the span of a second. Like, they're shot on screen. And I'm like, what the hell?
Yeah, I mean, we get set up that there's confusion about how she died. Because we have, two or three different stories.
Yeah.
That only featured similar elements, but told a different thing.
I believe the exact story, the story that they told the public was she was trying to save this little girl and she drowned in the process. But then we get the childhood friend comes up and he's like, dude, she had marks on her neck and there was no one else out there except me and that little girl, and I was not there yet.
And we had a whole conversation about you don't autopsy somebody unless there's a question about how they died.
Yeah. See, I just... in my inexperience and my lack of knowledge on things, I just assumed everybody got one just in case.
No, there was, I can't remember the name of the book, but there was not even famous. There's a book that was written that I read once. It's a true story about a guy who gets accused of a murder, and basically just to make it all go away, the police, since he's a suspect, put it all on him, and he has mental illness and his going through prison constantly, and how it doesn't help his mental illness get any better, and how horrible the police system is and everything. It constantly comes up to the question of how the woman dies that gets murdered in real life, and the person who's supposed to do the autopsy, and how they did it, and their credentials, and when you're supposed to do an autopsy and when you're not, because they refused to autopsy the person for a long time, because the person who did the medical report said, no, they definitely died this way. And then so long after the fact, they do an autopsy and they determine, no, they died of a different way. I only bring it up because it's very similar to this. where I think they determined that she drowned, like in that way that you vomit and somebody who's
Right.
like doing a rave or whatever, you vomit, nobody helps you, and it just goes right back down and you choke, and it turns out that they actually got strangled to death. So it's very similar to this, which is why it immediately comes to my mind. And in
Okay. Yeah, I see
that
what you're saying.
situation, it's a very much an autopsy thing. You don't or you do.
Yeah, that was a very long explanation to get there, but it makes sense. I
It
see
would
the
have
connection.
really helped if I could remember the book's name, because I would recommend it, because again, it's a true story, and
Mhm.
it's very it should be read. It should be read. This one. Um, but yeah, and then we got the element of the shadows. Old man calls
Yeah,
them shadows.
yeah. It looks like these shadows are doppelgangers.
Right, but we saw
It
them
at least
before
seems
they were
pretty clear
explained
to
to
me.
us.
Yeah, which is really. I honestly don't know what to think about it. I've been mulling over in my head all week. I don't know what I want it to be, but I know that I'm pretty excited to figure it out,
Well,
and I
since
hope we get some kind of answer today.
I've watched episode 1 at least twice now, only because I have to
Oh, you
edit
have?
it. I have to edit it.
Oh,
So,
right, 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 right,
so
right.
there's one scene that stuck out to me in the first episode where I said something, and you're like, "Oh, it's because she left the whatever it is, tavern, bar, diner." Sorry, I couldn't think of the word diner.
Yeah,
The sheriff, the young guy with the orange hair,
yeah.
uh, orders the food. The people leave. He thanks the person for the food, and then he does an evil glare back towards the door. And this happens before we're introduced to the concept of shadows and doppelgangers. Like, oh, it's weird how
Yeah.
that girl's staring at her own house, even though she's in it at the moment. we, without the
Well, to be
context of
fair, I
shadows.
didn't. To be fair, I thought it was a different point in time. I thought that it was like a cutaway. Like, here's what's happening later.
I'm just saying it went over
Yeah,
both of our heads because we weren't thinking
yeah,
about it. But like you
yeah.
said, it goes back to him, and he gives an evil look at the door. And it occurs to me that was also an event that happened before the concept of shadows, and of course before the double homicide.
It happened. It actually happened like just before we got that explanation. I think, right?
I
Because he
feel
ran into
like,
old man on the road after leaving the diner.
well,
I
yeah,
thought.
because his sister, I guess it's his little sister, she's out there crying, and she goes to her, and
Yeah.
she explains to him the other angle of the girl's death, and that's when we get Old Man Hunter, and it's
Right.
immediately out to the woods after that. But yeah, no,
Yeah.
it occurs to me then that maybe the sheriff or sheriff's deputy or whatever orange haired dude is, he might be a doppelganger. Because if you remember, girl staring at her own house, who's the person who encounters her?
That would be him.
Yeah. Maybe it used to be
Yeah.
him. Now maybe it's shadow him.
I'm really interested to see what they do with this because we sort of have an idea, but we don't know for sure. So
I mean, even in all
I
this, not one of us has brought up time loop.
well, yeah. So that's the other thing that fucking it blew my mind because in that same 3 second span where three characters died on screen, one of them's our main boy, and as soon as he dies, he wakes up back at the beginning of the first episode on the ship, coming into the town for the first time. So it's like, okay, so we've got ReZero, but it's more interesting to me.
And obviously it's a new thing because his best friend just died. She didn't come back.
Yeah, and I don't think that I think we're gonna get a reaction of him like not getting it. I think this is gonna be new for him.
Well, I think it has something. I'm having to make a guess here.
It definitely has something to do with his eyes.
That's what I brought up last time, and I'm actually moving away from that.
Oh, you are?
I think it has something to do with. I'm gonna point it down here. You're not gonna see it. City Girl, the one you didn't like the scene that keeps happening with her.
Oh, yeah.
He keeps getting shoved into her chest. But I think it has to do with her because she's walking around with this massive thing of luggage. She's the first one to get. Well, if it's not true about the sheriff with the red hair, orange hair, she's the first one that gets attacked.
I think she's hunting it, honestly. I get that impression.
Right, right. My thought is maybe the gear she has might be doing this whole time loop thing.
Oh, maybe.
Well, because she's also new to the island. Obviously, she's not here
Yeah.
before because she's off in like an alleyway calling for directions. So she has
Yeah,
no
and she was
idea.
on the ship. She was on the ship into the island with him.
Yeah,
and
so
she clearly looks out of place.
she's another new element, and if this time loop thing is new, that's the only thing that explains that to me right now.
Yeah. So it'll be pretty interesting to see what goes on.
Alright, well, I guess we should get into it unless you have any other thoughts.
I'm thinking I'd like to get into it. Wait. I thought the childhood friend said that the only people there were him and the kid.
I mean, this could be after. That they were the only ones there. Well, I don't know who the other two people are now.
Probably friends of the drowning kid.
True. But then you wouldn't say nobody was there.
Okay, so he just saw her death.
Yeah, which we didn't get last time.
He wasn't there for it.
I mean, she hit him last time. There we go.
I feel like this might be happening only to him.
It would really suck if this was like the first episode was Dream.
I don't think it was a dream. What if this entire series is them just giving us false plot hooks and leads, and it's just Twilight Zone?
What if
it's villain of the week, but like it's the same episode?
Yeah, say what if nothing ever happens the same? Like he's ready for get shot in the woods, and suddenly the hunter turns out to be a monster that's stalking people or something.
That's the same day he came in, right?
I want to say yes, which is why it's confusing.
Yes, it is, because they went the next day.
Yeah, but why would he think it's the 23rd if he thinks he's on the boat and he was dreaming? Because he knows when he was on the boat, and he wasn't on the boat on the 23rd.
He wasn't dreaming, is the thing.
That's what I'm saying. He thinks he dreamt, though. He thinks he just dreamt it up.
I don't think he does think it. I think he's telling himself that. You know, the way you think you saw something at the middle of the night, but nothing was actually there, so you tell yourself there was
Right,
nothing.
right, but I mean, if you were telling yourself you were dreaming, why would you be surprised if the day you thought you were dreaming wasn't the day it was? See, he's right back to thinking the same thing again.
Oh yes, the screaming bugaboys.
Cicadas?
Yeah.
Yeah, I hate those, but I guess they're only, what, once every 6 to 7 years?
17.
Yeah, or twice what I said. Plus.
They sleep for 17 years, scream for a week, and die. It's the dream. For real though, you notice how his, like, blue eye, that's like the same color as the foster sister who died.
Yeah, no, I already made a comment last time that it was gray, and we're talking about shadows.
Yeah.
One
They
eye
keep
can see the future.
focusing in on this eye.
Yeah, one eye sees the future, one eye sees the past. I did the whole Spike Spiegel thing. Here's another scene you hate. And he brought it up too. Probably doesn't help.
I don't hate it, I just feel like it's unnecessary.
Like I said, I loved my Dress Up Darling, so I'm not going to say one thing or other about fan
Well, I mean,
service.
that's like the whole... No, see... There are series where it makes sense and series where it's unnecessary, you know what I mean?
I love...
The whole point is her dressing up in cosplays. Like, yeah, you're gonna see some stuff.
Yeah, but she's all constantly flashing. This show has more than necessary. By the way, I'm just saying, I love that you're like, exasperation moment and then explanation coincided perfectly when the sound dropped out of the anime. Where I said a thing, and you're like, okay, buddy, let me just tell you something. Like, dead silence.
I don't remember this guy was the first time.
Yeah, he was there.
He was?
I remember him specifically because he seems like the character who's most out of place in this entire anime.
I honestly might have been, like, distracted for that split second then.
But then again, he might be the dad now that I think about it.
I don't know.
No one
I
else
just know I was really tired last time.
No one else is blonde. Except for him and the daughter who's dead, so...
Oh, she's following him.
But his little sister?
No, the woman from the boat.
Yeah, I don't think she was last time.
I don't think she's following him. Maybe she's inspecting the funeral. Maybe
Or
hoping to
maybe,
get
like I
report.
said before, she is responsible for the time jumps and recognizes that he's jumping through time. So now she's in a place she wasn't before.
Yeah.
Because you remember when he lived here, she was in an alleyway on a phone before.
Yeah.
Or she's a shadow.
Sorry, what'd you say?
She's a doppelganger. She could be a doppelganger. Remember when I thought the Flash was the key to everything?
Right. It might be.
小早川しおりちゃん。牛尾が命と引き換えに助けた女の子。もしも本当に時間が巻き戻ったのだとしたら、明日あの一家は失踪するってことになる。
Hey, remember that?
This almost reminds me of this DS game that I played way back in the day called Time Hollow. Except it was really like niche. I only found out about it because it had like a song in a DDR game, to be honest.
Oh, what if the little girl is a shadow and the whole family goes missing tomorrow because she kills them all? I don't know.
I mean, it would make sense. Her eyes were really
That's
empty.
what I was gonna say. That's the only reason I bring it up, because old Deadeye Shari. I think people would have given her a nickname at some point. Especially when everybody else's eyes are so bright and emotive.
Man, I want some curry now that I'm looking at it.
You said that last time.
Really good. I just really want rice.
No, actually, I think you brought it up. Not at this scene, the diner scene, because they were cutting up a lot of meat and stuff.
I haven't eaten today. And I worked all night. I really should eat something.
Okay, so this time he's not going to be inside for her to blow her nose on his shirt. It feels like Kids Next Door Little Crime, right? Who cut the brakes on her bike?
Oh man, I love that show. What if someone cut her brakes on purpose?
No, you gotta be out on the road so you can see Doppelganger Mio. Oh, there we go. We did get to see her anyway.
She definitely wasn't wearing that, and we definitely just saw her inside.
Yeah.
Her eyes don't look empty like the little girl's, though, so it might not be a sign.
Ah, I was right. She did do something to this guy. And then we see him later with the evil glare. God, this is evil.
We're getting a lot of answers really quickly.
I'm just glad that I put 2 and 2 together before we saw it happen.
Yeah. Nope, that was really good. Honestly, I figured it was the opposite. I thought that he got hurt.
It goes to show you that I was right. I am like only at 5% in Tomodachi game, and I'm fully in on this one.
I mean, I'm enjoying Tomodachi game, but this is better. Like, by leagues.
Yeah. Oh. I did say
Like,
in
this
episode
is-
1 that camera flash meant something, and now we got a camera flash thing going on.
Why is she Eureka 7?
I don't remember Eureka 7 glowing.
Did you see season 4?
No, I think I only saw season 1. That was enough.
Are you kidding? It's like the next closest thing to a perfect series after Full Metal Brotherhood. You just gotta wait for it, honestly. It is a little bit of a wait.
I could get into Full Metal Brotherhood. Not having ever watched all regular Full Metal Alchemist. See, the problem is it's hard to watch a show you feel like you've already watched.
The original series is actually so different after they finish, Whoa.
Okay, that's cool and all, but there's still an outline of a body.
So they can kill and duplicate.
Yeah, and just leave behind the silhouette of a body. No, because I have to shoot my brother tomorrow. Yeah.
病院送りになってくれたらやりやすかったんやけど。
まどろっこし苦手じょ。ん？今から踏み込んだらええわいしょ。銃もあるしよ。
こんな静かな夜に発砲したらめっちゃ音響くやないですか。ここはアメリカとちゃうんですから。
Damn, the call out.
下見ですかね。今日は。
I'll be honest, I always wanted to do a tabletop like this. A really small town where you can just keep experiencing the same day over and over again. Because you would really need a small town. I was stupidly just about to ask where she got the knife from, forgetting the scene with the cop.
あかんで、新平君。そら死刑じゃ。これもコピーすんの？
いや、
この血。
He's already what?
I'm really liking this like Nier Automata-esque like chanting music.
I said he's already half whatever they are. It's obvious.
Yeah. I feel like that's probably going to be it, and that kind of kills it for me a little bit.
I mean, it doesn't for me, because the mystery is still there. Still have no idea what the fuck is going on.
He is an orphan. I mean, he could be the original for all we know.
What, you think he murdered somebody and made a new one of them? Oh,
I
man,
think
what if he killed her?
I think it's entirely possible that...
What if he killed
someone?
What if he killed his friend, the one who's dead now, and couldn't live with it, and couldn't accept it, and brought her back? The same way that Mio just did.
I don't think so, because she definitely, Well, actually, we don't know everything these shadows can do, though.
We also don't know what he's been doing since he left the island. He's been gone for 2 years and just came back.
I think he said he was going to school.
Right. I just mean we don't know what he did before, and we don't know what he did when he left.
Yeah.
Anyway, how fast is Mio known for going down a hill on a bicycle? That she...
I mean, she did try and slow down, and it would have been fine.
No, I'm saying that, Doppelganger her intended to send her to the hospital by cutting these brakes. So how fast is she known for going on her bike?
I mean, she's a pretty known tomboy. I think it's a safe assumption.
I think slowing down and stopping on a bicycle is one of the easiest things to do. Even without brakes. I've been on plenty of bikes with no brakes. You just turn slightly and you'll lose velocity.
We all do stupid things when we panic, though.
Okay, we're getting her point of view now.
船に乗る前に慣れずしなるものを食べたよ。酢を使わず、サバを1ヶ月以上塩漬けにして発酵させた伝統的な食べ物だ。
Oh god, are we gonna get the thing where we thought she was more interesting than she actually is?
ところで、この前君は私がなぜ逆さになるのか質問したね。今答える。
Ah, yes, the quirky, dark-haired monotone girl. It's becoming a staple in anime lately.
Well, no, I mean, like, we thought she was part of this whole organization or she knew a lot of stuff. And it turns out that she's like... I mean, it's coming across like she's on a bucket list or she's just traveling and recording thoughts now. Like...
No. She's definitely... See? She knows. She's hunting it.
Okay.
Problem is, she thinks there's only one.
Well, there was only one until Mio.
はい、こちら正義の味方。なんやで？乱闘騒ぎ？あ、はい。
Yeah, make sure he doesn't die.
はい。大丈夫か？はい。商店街の。
I'm gonna go back on it though. I think blonde-haired dead girl was turned into one of these shadows. And maybe she wasn't saving the girl that was drowning, she was drowning her. And turned her into one of the shadows. Which is why she's a shadow now, to then turn Mio. Did she make a copy of Mio without killing Mio? How's that
entirely
work?
Possible. Entirely possible that, it's something that happened before the series, really.
That's why I said we don't know what has been like yeah. 2 years she's been gone. It's just that
I had a thought, but I'm tired and I lost it.
Well, we just saw that when Mio copies a person into a shadow, it destroys the body.
Body, yeah.
So how's there a shadow Mio with a real Mio?
A fake body.
万が一着信がないように機内モードフル充電モバイルバッテリーにもつないでおく幸いあいつが来る時間は分かってる録画開始ミオの影を撮影して証拠を抑えてやる
It turns out they're like vampires.
どんなに気分が悪くても外に行ったり絶対にしないそしたら大丈夫だ最初の22日に俺は殺されてないんだから右目の色が違ういつからや
He was only just noticing?
Well, I mean, how would you know?
No, I mean, like, if he's just noticing it, that means it hasn't been a thing, like, all his life.
ミオいるよな
I thought he was looking at his color dye.
ミオ
He was.
Right.
Which means he's used to the gray being his natural color. Obligatory.
Idiot.
Well, they're from the country.
As we covered last time. I believe when somebody said something referring to plums.
Hmm. Why should it? Doesn't have to fear you, bro. How many times has it killed you now?
Well, also now we know that whole family's been gone missing as well. Now, do you think that means that that family knows what's going on and is running away? Which seems unlikely since their daughter's probably one now. Or they left the island and this is a worldwide problem.
I feel like it could become a worldwide problem if it left the island.
Well, we have somebody else from outside the island coming to the island to address this.
影って言うんやろそういうのなあミオ影の病って知ってるなそいつは殺しに来たんやお前をな
So we have now ReZero, the murder mystery.
ここ拡大してみ手のとこ
Look at that pixelated edge. It's not going to cut anything. It's going to shred it.
I don't know. I feel like I killed
牛も見たんやろ
kill a cop at least.
Like I said, it'll shred him.
亡くなる3日前に
そっか、しんちゃん影のことお姉ちゃんから聞いてたんやね。
ん
Yeah, that she
聞
actually.
いたんだけど
I died twice at least, I think.
お前の影を昨日うん
The more you delve into a story, the more ridiculous it is.
ねえ、しんちゃん。お姉ちゃんは殺されたんかもしれへん。影に。
Wait, that's where you're ending it?
Well, I mean, to be fair, they all can't be episode 1's ending.
That's
And-
fair.
And there was a lot of stuff in this episode.
No, this episode gave us, I mean, a couple more questions, but it gave us a lot of answers.
I don't know that it gave us any answers, actually. It just gave us more of the thing that we already knew.
Well, I guess it more confirmed things we were theorizing.
Well,
So
sure,
I guess
sure.
it didn't give us new information, but it confirmed things, I guess.
I think I'm just at the point where, before the episode, I said a lot of stuff, and all that stuff happens to be true. So now here I am at the end of the episode, like, yeah, I'm just a fucking genius. What I said was true.
My man has absorbed enough media to know what's going on here.
Well, like I said, I got hung up on our first reaction to the dude turning his head and staring out, and it's like, this means
Yeah.
something.
And
in fairness, I also got hung up on the Flash, and then we saw the Flash this time, and it's a dude getting replaced.
Yeah. I normally hate time travel stories. I usually cannot fucking stand them. I feel like they're not written well. I feel like it gets confusing, but this is really easy to follow, which I'm very thankful for.
Alright, what's the next episode gonna be called? Drifting Ashore.
I have a feeling a body's going to drift ashore.
My idea here is that's going to play into what I said before, that she gets murdered out in the water and replaced.
No,
Well,
that
wait.
really...
No, the
I mean, we
little
kind of
girl.
already assumed that.
Well, the little girl gets replaced, I should say. But at the same time, though, now I'm doubting that too, even though it's a theory I only had this time. The Flash.
Well, actually, think about it, though. In that last scene where she was like, maybe she was killed by her shadow, she was standing next to her, looking up at the girl who was the shadow. So it's entirely possible that somewhere between then and the drowning that she was replaced.
Also, oddly, the cop is the only one who's ever wearing the outfit that he gets replaced in. Mio, that's a shadow, is standing outside the house wearing her school uniform.
I
Whereas
think the
Mio
shadow
in the house-
probably...
Well, Mio in the house is currently naked, but even before that, she was wearing a nightgown.
Yeah,
Whereas, and we see
the
on
shadow
the
wears school clothes.
well, no, say on the beach, Mio looks up at the shadow of the girl. I know she's like super important, but I can't remember her name being said once.
Ushio.
She's wearing a cap and looks like outdoorsy clothes.
Yeah.
Whereas real her is dying on the beach wearing a
So-
swimming outfit.
So, like, I have a theory on that, though, right? So the cop's in his uniform, girl's in her uniform. These are clothes you wear a lot. These are clothes you're not even fucking think twice about if you see someone wearing them, right? It's the most, like, nonchalant, easy to get by thing to do. Put them in the uniform they wear all the time.
Like being like Terminators.
Yeah.
My thought was is they wear the clothes that they get changed into. Like the cop gets changed in a Flash, and he's wearing the same clothes. So my thought would be that any of them that are seen that aren't wearing the clothes of the person that we just saw are shadows that have been around long enough to have changed their clothes to have to fit in with society.
I wonder... Okay, so here's the theory, right? They're doppelgangers. What if they need some kind of visual reference to transform, and that's why it's like, okay, I'll take a picture of you, so I have this picture, so I can always turn into you, even after I've killed and replaced you. and destroyed your body.
Well, see, I don't think the flash thing is a camera. I think we thought the first time it was a thing because it was followed by the wee noise of an old school camera. But when he changed, it was flash, and then boom, like an atom bomb had gone off. Here's your shadow on the ground, kind of thing, which is confusing. But there, boom, he's back. And the only other place we've seen a flash so far has been at the funeral, and suddenly the little girl, lifeless eyes. But it's hard because I can't tell if they're throwing that out because she's emotionally scarred for having witnessed a death at such a young age, that sort of thing.
Well, they definitely did reveal that by the time he gets on the island, she's already a shadow. The woman recording on her phone right there, she confirmed that.
She confirmed what?
The little girl's already a shadow. She said it's walking there right amongst them and zoomed in on the little girl.
Sure. I mean, because we already know her family goes missing that night,
right.
too.
Yeah.
Which, again, hasn't come up yet. He did visit the house, and there wasn't any sign of struggle or anything, but again, they make the bodies disappear, but there should be a shadow of the mother and father, at least, on a wall or something.
It's entirely possible that they don't always make copies of the person they replace either. There's still a lot we don't know.
Or I can read too much into the shadow, and that wasn't a shadow; those were blood stains because the dude had just been stabbed 100 times.
I really feel like we're going to get the answer to these questions, though.
Oh yeah, no. I'm not going to just assuming we're never going to know. This is going to be the worst show ever written.
Some series will just kind of like leave things ambiguous, and I don't think this is the series that's going to do that.
No, I feel like this is definitely the show that if they're probably going to show it to us, and we're going to be like, oh yeah, and then we're going to explain it all out loud, and then we're also going to get an additional exposition-heavy episode for the dumb people in the crowd who didn't figure it out. So, yeah, no, I'm assuming that we're all going to figure it out. I just want to get there before the show does. Like, I want to say, okay, here's what's going to happen, because we've seen 3 iterations of the timeline now, and we know how they operate, and they do this and they do that, and this is their motivations, because we can figure it out because they've done this thing and they've done this thing on 2 different timelines. So obviously the closest thing they do is this and this. I want to get there before the show does. I want to be smarter than the suspected audience of the show.
Yeah, I get that vibe from you. I feel like you're just always trying to do that with like every...
No, clearly I've shown I don't do that in Tamagotchi game.
Well, that's different. You don't care enough.
I clicked out. Episode 1, you two went in heavy, and I'm like, yeah, I'm not on the level. This is going to play well for me. I better find another gimmick.
Like I said, I wanted a psychological drama. And they're playing up on the psychological aspect of it by making them mentally turn against each other. The whole point. I'm into that. That's interesting. This is a supernatural drama, so I'm here for that.
Right, but it's supernatural drama couched in still people interacting. It's not like ambiguous monster. It could be. It's not an ambiguous monster itself. It's an ambiguous monster that looks like your sister, or it looks like your childhood friend, which is a scarier monster, to be sure. It's pod people.
Well, yeah, because then you can't trust anyone.
Yeah, it's the pod people, basically. Who do you turn to when you can't turn to anybody? It's pod people meets Groundhog's Day.
And honestly, I'm pretty here for it.
Pod people meets ReZero, I should say. Groundhog's Day, he couldn't reach tomorrow. He's at least seen July 23rd.
That's true. He's just got this respawn point.
On a boat. I mean, gotta feel pretty safe. If I die and I can't figure this out, at least I'm on a boat.
He's playing like hardcore Resident Evil rules. He's just no save points.
Well, I mean, if I can't figure out how to solve my home island from being overrun, maybe I'll just go back in time and just figure out a way to turn the boat around.
See?
We just don't go back there ever again.
Whatever's going on right now, though, Ushio's got some kind of hand in it. Like, she's influencing him somehow.
Which one's that?
The dead one. The dead sister.
Okay. I
The
said,
one that's sparking the whole story.
well, yeah, like I said, I don't pick up her name a lot because I feel like I've seen 100 times God, I would say reflections. Reflections is the only word coming to my head now.
Honestly, it usually takes me like 10 episodes to learn a character's name, and half the series are almost done by that point.
I feel like Mio was the only characterized name I know.
Well, yeah, they say it every 4 minutes, so... Or every 40 seconds, whatever.
Well, yeah, because every time he gets on the dock, he introduces Mio! And every time that Mio has to kill herself, she says her damn name. I'm getting it in like that old Subway commercial repetition. Not Subway.
On God, I really don't even remember our main character's first name right now.
I don't either. I don't know any other names except Mio.
But like, I'm still invested though. That's the funny thing.
Well, yeah, because it doesn't. I don't think the characters themselves matter that much.
It's kind of, well, the whole point is that the characters are being replaced. Like, they are literally expendable, and that's intentional.
Right, but I mean, when you're playing a game of Clue, right, does it matter who Colonel Mustard actually is? Does it matter why he's a colonel? What service he did to be a colonel? Does it matter what his plans are after he gets out of the mansion? Colonel Mustard is immaterial. Yeah, I'm just saying, who Colonel Mustard is immaterial. Yeah. For all intents and purposes, he's just a name, so that I can know who's holding what weapon in what room. That's what I'm saying that this is. I don't really care who Mio is as a person, and her characterization is just only enough to inform me of what might happen or what she'll do in such and such circumstance. But for all intents and purposes, Mio is just a name I can tick off as Shadow or not Shadow.
Yeah. And, I had a thought, but it's gone again.
What was I
I think that's probably a good sign that I should probably go soon.
Alright. For my last thought then, overall, most of the characterizations is all they are. We have the out-of-town researcher who's part of a larger organization who knows something's going on. Doesn't really matter beyond that. And we have the cop who's been murdered twice now. The hunter who knows about things. We've only seen him once. We have the dead sister. Friend, not sister. Dead, well...
They are friends. They are sisters. They're foster siblings.
No, I'm not talking about me. I'm talking about Blondie.
Yeah.
Well, my recollection is that they're childhood friends and not sister. Well, obviously, could be sisters because I'm talking about the boy.
Yeah, he's their foster brother.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
He was an orphan, remember? That's what I was saying earlier, and they took him in.
Well, that's why I was saying that the blonde guy who looked out of sync for the rest of the island could have been her father, but I don't think that's true either.
I think he is.
Well, when they went to go eat during the first episode and this episode, I don't recall him being in the house.
Adoptive father for Shinpei. It's his adopted dad.
Okay, it's weird that I don't remember seeing him in the house when they were eating dinner then.
I just think they decided not to include him in the scene because he wasn't important.
Oh, sure. It's like that Sword Art Online thing. Kirito obviously lives with people. But you only ever see his sister. You never see... Well, his adopted sister, so they can have that weird... Anyway. Yeah. But for the most part, all these characters don't really have, like... It's that
the show gives you enough information to know who they are and what...
It's that red letter media Star Wars thing where you say, okay, tell me this character's traits, and they tell you like an original Star Wars character, and they go back to the prequels, and you're like, I can't tell you anything about the character. I mean, they say anything that's not a physical trait. Don't describe them what they're physically or what they do. Give me a thing, and like, I can't tell you anything. That's who we got. We have a bunch of figures on the clue board.
And for now, I think that's okay. I think this is a series that doesn't really need you to know a lot about the characters.
Yeah, not unless it becomes importantly vital. Like, she wouldn't do that. She's right-handed. Hopefully we don't pull that level of shit, but,
I mean, it's kind of inevitable with these clone stories here, so...
Yeah, but if they really are doppelgangers, hopefully they're not going to be like, oh, I didn't know the person who life I entirely copied was right-handed.
Right? Well, it looked like what's very interesting though is when the shadow guy turned into the cop, he seemed to have all the information on him. Right, like he knew that he had no spouse, no aspirations. He picked up on his mannerisms like instantly.
Yeah, he instantly went over his life's prospects and said none.
Yeah.
And instantly picked up. It's like, obviously he didn't know who he was the moment he became him, and then had to click into it.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the aspect I'm saying though. Is clearly that flash, boom, I know everything now.
Yeah.
All right then. I guess that'll leave us off until we watch next episode.
Oh, I cannot wait.
Yeah, it's a good show. I look forward to this one and Spy X Family, and just those two.
Definitely the two best ones we're watching right now.
Yeah. It's a shame we couldn't get that other one in there, but whatever. Such a good opening. Anyway, this has been Stoneface Reactions, watching Summertime Render, Episode 2. Shy over here to my... I don't know. My thumb is clearly pointing to my right in real life, but it's pointing backwards at my bed. You're Shy over
here. It looks
here.
like you're pointing to your left. Well, you're right, but I'm to the left on my screen, so...
Well, this is
you're
my
pointing
right
at me,
hand.
at least. You are pointing at me in my perspective, at least.
Maybe I'm mirrored. Well, I'm also in this layout. Anyway, this is Shy. Theta. We'll catch you next time.
Take it
Bye.
easy.
Hey everybody, thanks for watching another Stoneface Reactions. If you have an idea of another video we could go ahead and watch, go ahead and put it in the comments down below and we'll add it to the wheel. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe and let us know what you thought about this video, what parts you liked. And until then, we'll see you next time. Is this too goofy?